In this episode of Fictional Hangover, we talk about surprise returns, surprise siblings, surprise cults, surprise murderers, and surprise queens in our discussion of Last Sacrifice, the final book of the Vampire Academy series by Rochelle Mead. Hey everybody, welcome to Fictional Hangover, a podcast about young adult and new adult books, series, authors, and voice actors that is full of spoilers. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Claire, and today we're going to discuss Last Sacrifice by Rochelle Mead.
It's the last one! Standard disclaimer, spoilers! If you haven't read this book, please remember that Fictional Hangover is all about spoilers! If you haven't read or listened and don't want to be spoiled, stop listening to us and go read or listen to the book. Then come back because spoilers. If you haven't done this, want to pretend that you have, or if you don't care about spoilers, or if you just like to just show us that you don't care about any of that, then listen up. Spoilers!
Do we have spoilers in our discussions?
We do. Sometimes.
That's what I've
Rarely.
been missing. On the odd occasion,
yes.
we may reveal a little tidbit of information.
Yeah. Yeah, not in literally every single episode ever.
That explains so much.
My mind blown. I know. Oh. Claire, it's the last one.
I'm going to say exactly. I'm not, hanging around here. Give me your background info because I need to get into this. We need to get into this.
Okay, so I am not pleased with the background info that I found this time. But of course, I got it from Rochelle Mead's blog.
You finally resurfaced.
Her old blog, yes. And she didn't have a whole lot of Last Sacrifice stuff. You know, there was a lot of it's going to come out this day, and we're working on the cover, and all of the links and things are broken for the majority of the things that she posts because, it's so old. But I found a link this time, and I was pleased that I found a link, and I was really hoping that it was going to be something great, and it was not. It's a video. It's a video of someone recording themselves walking down stairs with a quote, and that was a trailer made by Penguin Australia, and that was it. And the quote is nothing. It's an Adrian quote, and there isn't much I wouldn't do for you. The stupider, the better. And it's literally just someone walking downstairs. And I get it. That's from when they're escaping court. But what is this weird, dark, back industrial stairway? And I don't know. It's not very good. So I really think that we should make our own videos with our favorite final thought quotes.
I agree. I'm
and make it be
now.
terrible of us. You should watch it. It's 30 seconds. And we need to remember to share it. Watching that, I wouldn't be excited to read this book. It's a staircase, and the quote doesn't mean anything.
What the frick did I just watch?
I don't know, and I don't even think that it said Adrian. It's just, there isn't much I wouldn't do for you. The stupider, the better. I don't know.
It's stupid. Stupid. I will defend Vampire Academy come hell or high water. This is my hill, and I will die on it. But that is a stupid trailer.
It's bad. I wouldn't want to read this book based on that trailer.
It's got nothing to do with the book apart from it has a quote from the book, and that music was so piercing. Headphone warning if you watch that video, because the music's really tingy and tinny and loud. So yeah, okay. Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the background info that I found.
Thank you.
Yep. I thought you'd enjoy it. And we can share it with everyone else. Far
and wide.
Yep.
We're on the last book, Amanda.
I know. But don't worry, because we get to start Bloodlines next month. So we're not really...
But wait, there's more. You too can
But
enjoy
wait,
6
there's-
more books.
Yes.
Starring Adrian.
Yes, indeed. Speaking of Adrian, can I just say that from the very first time I read this book, when I was in college, a million years ago, and my friend Tanya got me reading it, the one thing that I had in my head when I finished it was, damn you, Belikov! And I still text Tanya that on occasion.
It's mainstream.
That's it.
You've mainstreamed it. Wow, I wish you could see our face right now. I mean, you can if you go to Patreon and select the bonus tier. But wow. Unimpressed face. Dead eye stare. No blinking.
Yeah. So anyway.
On the other hand, my initial thoughts were, Dimitri! He's so hot.
It's fine. It's fine. And yeah, he is. There's some really, like, steamy lines in this one, too, but... And Annie is hot. It's fine. It's true. It's understandable, but still. I'm going to rage out about that later, though, okay?
Yeah,
Not
keep
now.
the rage
It
for
happens
later.
Later.
Your soapbox is on the way. You will get the
It
delivery
is.
soon.
Yeah, it'll be delivered in probably like an hour. Maybe a little, maybe less. 40 minutes.
Conveniently, we'll have a break, and that's when the delivery will come.
Right. You're right. You're right about that. Okay. So let's get to it. Yeah. Rose is currently in prison for killing Queen Tatiana, even though we all know she didn't do it. Her father, Abe the Zmay, visits her with some bad news. What could be worse than being imprisoned for a murder you didn't commit? Finding out that the date for the trial is going to be pushed up, meaning you have less time to find out who framed you. Oh, and you have to find that out while you're in prison. Not good. Not good at all. Abe gives Rose some reading material, The Count of Monte Cristo, which is hilarious, and some magazines, and then he leaves. While he was there, he seemed to be scoping out the cell, so we can all keep our hopes up for a spectacular prison break. Fingers crossed. Rose looks over the note from Queen Tatiana she was given by Ambrose shortly before being locked up. It mentions the existence of an illegitimate Dragomir child, someone who, if found, could give Rose's best friend, Princess Vasilisa Dragomir, her rightful place on the Moroi Council. Too bad Rose is in prison and can't locate this person. If she could, she probably wouldn't even be in this predicament in the first place. There's only one thing she can do to find out any information, and she hates doing it. Rose has to let her mental guard down and talk to ghosts.
Ghosts. Or one ghost in particular, Queen Tatiana. Rose summons her, and after a bit she appears. Like when Rose used to see Ghost Mason, Ghost Tatiana doesn't say or do much, but when asked if she really wrote the illegitimate Dragomir note, she nods. So it's true then. Too bad Rose can't do anything about it.
'Cause she's in prison!
She's in prison! I'm sensing a theme. She checks in on Lissa using their spirit bond and finds her shopping for funeral dresses with a drunken Adrian. He's practically always drunk these days, as he uses alcohol to self-medicate as spirit use and subsequent depression. He's also pretty upset because even though Rose and Dimitri are no longer together, and now he and Rose are, Dimitri still rushed to Rose's side and fought when she was arrested. Probably not a good sign that he doesn't love her or anyone anymore. Quotes.
No one believes you, Dimitri.
Quotes. Christian and his Aunt Tasha arrive then. Tasha talks about Dimitri not getting into too much trouble for fighting the guards during the arrest. Some people still think he's Strigoi, since the idea of returning a Strigoi back to life has, until Lisa actually did it, been pretty much unheard of. Tasha's going to make sure he's okay though. Rose, thinking of Dimitri, falls asleep after that.
But she's startled awake when there's a flare in the bond. It was like after Alyssa brought Dimitri back. The bond was bright and powerful, then quickly dulled, barely there at all. It kind of seems like Alyssa's hiding something from Rose, but what? And why? Oh well, there's nothing she can do about it, because she's in prison! The next day is Queen Tatiana's funeral, so Rose watches it through Lissa's eyes. It still feels like she's hiding something, but seriously, what could it possibly be? Rose follows along as Lissa gets ready and arrives at the funeral procession. Daniela, Adrian's mom, asks if Lissa has seen her son, and yeah, she has. Leaving a party drunker than ever the night before. Looks like he won't be attending today's services. That's not good at all. Lissa then meets up with Christian, which makes her glow with happiness since they recently got back together. Yay, finally. But since the Ozera family is no one's favorite on account of Christian's parents becoming Strigoi, Christian isn't allowed to walk with the processional like Lissa is. She walks along, and Rose notices a lot of people staring at her. Most are in awe of her Strigoi healing abilities. As the procession approaches its end, huge statues in the court explode!
Rose leaves Lissa's mind, only to check in briefly to make sure she's okay. Eddie, Mikhail, Adrian and Dimitri arrive at her cell and break her out. Ah, right. So this is what Lissa was hiding from her. Good one, Liz. Good one. Adrian uses his spirit abilities to keep attention off them, and they escape to a parking garage where they're met by Abe, who has a car ready for them to escape. He's also the one responsible for the explosions, because of course he is.
I love Abe.
Only Dimitri and Rose are leaving court, though. It makes the most sense for Dimitri, the former Strigoi, and his underage lover to break out of prison together, keeping Eddie, Mikhail, and Adrian safe. This is not so good since Rose is still kind of in love with Dimitri, even though they're no longer together, and she's definitely in a relationship with Adrian that she wants to come back to. Rose tells Dimitri she doesn't want his help, but Lissa asked him to keep her safe, so that's what he's going to do, whether he wants to or not. But you know what? She's no longer in prison.
Hooray!
Yay,
but because I don't get to shout it every other
You
paragraph.
can, I don't mind. You can scream other things, it's fine.
I mean, if I didn't scream random things throughout our episode, I don't know.
I would
how
be
we
asking some
survive.
serious questions.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, they drive away, but are followed.
No.
They drive into a mall parking lot, abandon their car, and split up with plans to meet again shortly and escape again in a different car, which they do, with only a little bit of fighting their pursuers taking place along the way. Also, Rose wears an ugly hat. They're on the road again before you know it, and driving to another location with another car for them to take off in. This one is given to them by Sydney, the alchemist Rose met in Russia on her hunt for Strigoi Dimitri. Even though the alchemists don't care for vampires, living or dead, or even Dampiers, Sydney is here to help. So maybe she doesn't hate Rose too terribly much?
Sydney gives them clothes and supplies, and together the three of them escape to a small backwater town and to a motel. Sydney rents 2 rooms using fake names and leaves Dimitri and Rose to stay by herself. Probably wanting to avoid sharing a room with evil creatures of the night. Whoa. Well, I mean, this isn't going to be awkward at all. No, not one bit.
No.
The plan now is to wait indefinitely for Lissa and the others back at court to clear Rose's name. That's a terrible plan. Do they not know who she is?
Nope. Clearly they don't. Yes, Rose, why don't you sit quietly in a corner? Nope.
Here, read this book.
Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen.
Of course Rose can't sit in a room with Dimitri with nothing to do. So of course she tries to escape. He throws her down on the bed and, in an effort to shock him long enough to get him to loosen his grip, she kisses him. But he kisses her back. And then she punches him. That works! Yay! She takes off out of the motel and into the woods. Because that worked so well last time in Russia.
Oh yes, definitely worked. While she's traipsing through the woods, Rose enters Lissa's mind. She's being interrogated about Rose and Dimitri's escape. She covers up the Dimitri is still a Strigoi and that's why he escaped thing by telling the Guardians that he and Rose were involved. She pretends she doesn't even know who Rose is anymore. She can't believe that she'd kill the queen. Her interrogation is over, and then she's talking to Abe about what's going to happen next. The burial and election of a new monarch, when Rose is tackled out of Alyssa's mind by Dimitri. Shock. He caught up with her.
Oh, pretty stupid time of going to Alyssa's mind. I mean, come on.
It really is. It really is. She realizes that going back to court to try to solve Tatiana's murder is futile. Plus, Abe, Lissa, Christian, Adrian, and Tasha are working on that. There's still something she can do, though. Find the illegitimate Dragomir. She tells Dimitri and Sydney about that, and they set off for a new hiding place to do some research.
While they're driving, Rose checks in on Lissa again and finds her and Christian with Adrian in his living room. A man comes by looking for Adrian's mother. She had apparently promised to pay this guy, Joe the janitor, to say he saw Adrian the night of Tatiana's murder. Lissa compels him to talk. He really did see Adrian and Rose, so why is he getting paid? Because he's going to lie about the time. He doesn't remember that. But this guy is also being paid by a mysterious, nondescript stranger with something weird about his hand to say that he did not see Rose there at all. Adrian, Lissa and Christian decide to leave to talk to Mikhail. Back in her own mind, Rose realises that the car has stopped. She, Dimitri and Sydney have to travel on foot now to make it to the hidden location of Maroi, Dampiers and humans. The what?
These are the keepers. Those who kept the old way of life. Like, no electricity and, living in a culty commune. They are pleased when they find out that Rose is accused of killing Tatiana, the tainted queen. Tainted because she lives in the modern vampire world.
How dare you have cell phones?
These guys are very, very hillbilly.
You can hear the banjos, can't you?
You can. But they agree to let Sydney, Rose, and Dimitri hide out for a few days. Apparently, the alchemists bring them supplies on occasion, so they know that Sydney is a trustworthy person. They're an intermingled group, as in some Maroi and humans are married, or Dampiers are with Dampiers, or any other mixing of races, which is weird and astounding to Rose and Dimitri, and of course, disgusting to Sydney. That night, as she drifts off to sleep, Rose falls into a spirit dream. Thinking she's going to see Adrian, she gets excited, but he is not the spirit user she finds. It's Robert Deroux, and with him is his brother, Victor fucking goddamn son of a bitch Dashkov.
God damn it. Victor and Rose talk about her escape from court and the Queen's murder, and how he knew about it almost as soon as it happened, and how he knows that she's not responsible. Rose tells him that she is now looking for the illegitimate Dragomir, and explains all that to him, which he didn't know about. makes a change, actually.
It's very
He suggests to give her more time to find the Dragomir and to give Lissa and Adrian time to find out who killed Tatiana, that Rose convinced Lissa to put her name in the running for Queen. There is no law against her putting her name in with no other familial support, but she does have to be nominated by 3 different people. The law will allow her to run, but it will not allow her to become Queen. She does need family for that, but at least her running will muck everything up, giving them time to search.
After the Victor fucking goddamn son of a bitch dream, Rose falls into another spirit dream. This time, it is Adrian. Yay! She's so excited to see him! After they catch up, Rose tells Adrian something that earns her more time in her quests. But whether it's the, whole illegitimate Dragomir thing or Lissa running for Queen isn't said. The dream ends, and she, Sydney, and Dimitri leave the Keepers for a while to go to town so Sydney can use her laptop and get much-needed coffee. While Sydney researches the Alchemist files about information on the Dragomirs, Rose and Dimitri go to the tiny library and look at travel books, since they probably won't be able to go anywhere out of hiding for the foreseeable future. They have a friendly connection, and it's nice, but then it's time to go and see what Sydney has found. She discovered a bank account with Jane Doe as the account holder, but there was a next of kin contact as well. Sonia Karp.
Wow. Joke. That's a lost cause. Or is it? Mikhail, Sonia's boyfriend, has been searching for her since she turned Strigoi, with no luck. But Dimitri, who had risen high in the Strigoi ranks while he was one of them, has an idea. He borrows Sydney's phone and calls a Strigoi contact. Pretending to still be Strigoi himself, he demands the contact find Sonia. They go back to the Keeper's compound after that, Dimitri feeling shaken at having to fake being Strigoi again, but hopefully that will get them started on their search. Rose is taken to a cave by one of the strapping young commune members, Joshua, and offered a marriage proposal. Oh my god, yikes. Oh, not awkward at all. She turns him down. She joins Sydney and Dimitri at the campfire, and then the strapping young boy's sister, Angeline, fights Rose to see if she's worthy of marrying her brother. And of course she is. She kicks her ass. But marriage? Angeline, come on. That's not happening. Yikes. Bloody hell. Backwater. Commune cult.
This whole scene with the Keepers is like
it was the most delightful
completely
thing.
Unnecessary, but it's so great.
It's perfect in every way. Oh, you can kick ass. Oh, want to be my wife? No, it's fine. Take this bracelet. They're getting married.
Yay! Check out my cave.
Do you like my cave? It's big enough for 2.
No.
And one day I'll get an attic.
Oh my god, all of it was just
so awkward.
Fantastically terrible.
It was. I loved it.
Much like us, Sydney and Dimitri laugh about the proposal fight. Dimitri telling Rose she shouldn't have led Joshua on. But did she really? Or are they just in a backwoods redneck commune where nobody knows any better? Jeez! Okay, after all that's cleared up, Dimitri needs to leave the compound for Signal to call his Strigoi contact, and Sydney goes too. So, while they're gone, Rose checks in on Lissa. She, Christian, and Adrian are interrogating Ambrose, Queen Tatiana's lover, to see what he knows about her murder, or, to see if he's responsible for it. He thinks Tatiana's murder was political, not romantic, because Queen Tatiana was for Moroi fighting, which not many approved of or even knew about. She used the age law to keep the rest of the Dompiers, those that don't fight, like, say, Ambrose, safe, because some of the others on the council were pushing to have all Dompiers fight.
Ooh.
It's not pretty, and the age law making Dampiers graduate and begin guarding at 16 wasn't great, but was better than it could have been.
Okay. So Rose comes back to herself when Sydney and Dimitri return. He has a lead on the Strigoi who knows where to find Sonia, so they leave the keepers. Angeline wants to come with them, though, even though Angeline could become a great guardian with enough training, and even though she reminds Rose of Jill, the young Roy chomping at the bit to fight, Rose tells her she can't come along. And then she takes a strop like a 12-year-old. On the long car ride to find Dimitri's contact, Rose checks in with Lissa again. This time, she, Christian and Adrian are at the nomination ceremony for the new monarch. Each candidate must have 3 nominations. Royals from several families we know are nominated, including the... Oh, God, I can never say these names. Zelskis, Badikers and Azaras, yeah. Including the Zelskis, the Badikers, and the Azaras. And, of course, the Dragomirs. Wait, what? Really? Yes? What?
What?
Hang on.
Dragomirs? What?
Tasha nominates Lissa. It's seconded by Christian and completed by Adrian. Then chaos ensues. Just like Victor, fucking goddamn son of a bitch, Dashkov said it would. Lissa isn't happy that she'll have to jump through royal hoops and take tests for a position she can't even win, but she does it, knowing that it will give everyone time to clear Rose's name.
Man.
Yeah.
Shrug. Just go with it. Just try to be queen, okay?
You could do it.
Yay! Rose, Dimitri, and Sydney arrive in the city where Dimitri's Sonia contact is, and they set up an ambush because, of course, a Strigoi is not going to take kindly to being tricked by a Dampier. Dimitri hides in the shadows of an alley, and Rose hides on a nearby roof. Sydney has to pretend to be Dimitri's human servant, but once she lures the contact out, she goes to hide in the car. Dimitri and Rose take out the cronies and find out that Sonia is in hiding in a small town called Paris, Kentucky. Don't worry, not Paris. And then, after finding out that information, they kill the contact. Dimitri struggles with violent tendencies when killing the Strigoi, and that struggle turns to despair. Rose is there to help him come back to himself, but it takes a while.
When she goes to sleep later, Rose has more spirit dreams. First with Victor and Robert, in which Victor tells Rose they're coming to meet them, and then with Adrian, who fills Rose in on Lissa's queen nomination, and on which he worries that he's going crazy because he doesn't have anyone to help him draw away the darkness like Lissa does.
Poor Adrian! Sorry.
Yeah, whatever.
Sorry.
I think she's going to cry for a while. It'll be fine. Rose says she will always be there to help. The next day, Rose, Dimitri, and Sydney find... This is a somber moment. We're not supposed to be laughing. The next day, Rose, Dimitri, and Sydney find Sonia's house. Rose can tell it belongs to her former teacher because there are lots of spirit-grown flowers there, and when Ms. Karp was her teacher, she loved flowers. Now Rose realises she was using her spirit magic to grow them. Rose and Dimitri break in, followed shortly by Sydney, and they tie Sonia up in chains. Their interrogation as to who the Dragomir child, it's not going well. And after a bit, Rose checks on Lissa, who was dropped off in the wilderness for her first monarch test, which involves following a map to find clues and items she'll need to survive in the sun on her own.
When Rose comes back from checking on Lissa, which took hours, but she was successful in her first trial, so yay! Victor and Robert have arrived. After a scuffle, Robert restores Sonia, just like Lissa restored Dimitri.
Oh my gosh.
Shock! It's an amazing sight that Rose gets to watch this time instead of witnessing it almost firsthand like she did when Dimitri was restored. Sydney is in awe and didn't really believe that it was possible, even though she knows Dimitri was restored. Now that she's seen it, she believes. As Dmitri soothes Sonia, Rose checks in with Lissa back at court.
When she arrives back after her trial, there are lots of bystanders, royal and not, who are proud of her for passing the first test. Lissa decides to take the trial seriously now, because this isn't a joke or a stall for time for those Moroi from all over the world, and right here in court they are cheering her on. Christian asks if she actually wants to be queen. Tasha thinks she'd be great, but no. She really just needs to treat this importantly like everyone else. Adrian comes by with an idea on how to find more information about who the queen was sleeping with and who might have been jealous enough to kill her. They go to a bar and talk to a guy who reveals that he was involved with Tatiana, but that Ambrose was too, and if anyone would kill the queen, it would be him, or one of the other women he's been paid to sleep with, like Daniela Ivashkov.
That's not good!
They leave the bar after that, Christian and Lissa hoping that Adrian's mom isn't responsible.
Yikes!
Cringe.
Yikes! Gross! It's terrible. When Dmitri finally leaves Sonia's side, Rose, Victor, and Robert try to convince her to talk about the illegitimate Dragomir, but she made a promise that she wouldn't. Dmitri wanted everyone to leave Sonia alone for a while to deal with her unstragoying, but they can't really wait forever. Rose asks her about Eric Dragomir's child, but Sonia lies, saying she doesn't know what Rose is talking about. But then Robert calls her out and compels her to tell the truth, which causes a huge spirit battle. Rose calls for Dmitri, and they're eventually able to stop the fight. Dmitri is angry with Rose, but she's feeling a little amorously about him after they had to fight to stop the battle. Ooh. She shouldn't feel that way, but she can't really help it.
Because he's
now
so
that
hot.
everyone has calmed down, he's so hot. Excuse me. Now that everyone has calmed down, Sydney convinces Sonia to lead them to where the Dragomir is without actually telling them anything. So she's not technically breaking her promise.
Weak.
Probably convinced that finding this person really is important. Sonia agrees.
Another long car ride means another check-in with Lissa. Everyone piles into the car together and Dmitri follows Sonia's vague directions while Rose checks out. Lissa is taken in the middle of the vampiric night to her next test. A really old Moroi lady makes her a drink from a cup charged with all 5 elements, which makes her see all of her greatest fears.
It's a fear test! It's a fear test! She's gonna pee her pants!
Do you think it's going to be clowns?
I hope so. I hope so. Fear test. Fear test.
First, Lissa sees herself at Rose's funeral. She died protecting her. Then Christian leaves her, afraid to take on the responsibilities of being with the Dragomir. So now she's all alone. Next, she's embarrassed and publicly humiliated in a council meeting. Finally, she's cutting herself again because her spirit magic is too much and her doctors want to lock her up in Tarasov prison. But Rose, alive again in this scenario, offers to take her darkness away, which will cause her to kill herself. Lissa won't let her do that, so she agrees to be locked away. Then she wakes up. She has passed her test. When she leaves the room, there is an even bigger crowd of royals and non-royals alike cheering for her and the return of the dragon.
I really enjoyed the fact that there was a fear test. Like it just makes me happy because we just had fear tests in another book we discussed earlier.
It doesn't explicitly say that she peed her pants, but you know what happened.
No, she probably didn't scream. She probably didn't pee her pants.
There's a little dribble in there.
Might be. Drop or two.
You can't see on the outside, but there's a little dribble.
Just a little bit of pee. A little bit of pee came out. Tiny bit. After leaving Lissa, Rose is visited in a dream by Adrian. She accidentally lets slip that she's with Sonia Karp, who is no longer a Strigoi and was changed back by Robert DeRue, which means that she's also with Victor fucking goddamn son of a bitch Dashkov. Accidentally lets this slip. Whoops.
Whoops.
She was supposed to be in hiding. Adrian asks where she is and what she's doing, but she can't answer, and the dream ends. Shortly after that, they arrive at the end of Sonia's journey. Rose, Sydney, and Sonia go to the door of a cute and tidy house, and they are met by Jill. Oh man, Jill is Lissa's half-sister. Rose really should have realized it before. They have the same jade green eyes, which are pretty much only passed through the Dragomir line. I mean, really, if you're only going by eye color, it's probably okay that you missed it, Rose. It's probably okay.
I'll let this one slide. It's eye colour. And I don't think she'll have looked that hard in Jill Bates' eyes.
No, she's not, like, gazing into them luxuriously.
So, before we can talk about that, though, there are a couple of other things we have to deal with first. 1. Rose's wanted criminal who allegedly killed Queen Tatiana. 2. Sonia isn't a Strigoi anymore. But how? After a bit, Emily, Jill's mom and Sonia's cousin, is convinced that Rose probably isn't responsible for the regicide and that Sonia is no longer a bloodthirsty monster. Probably. Jill believes it all immediately because she trusts Rose and she heard about Lissa restoring Dimitri, and so she must have helped Sonia too. No? Was it Adrian then? No. It doesn't matter who it was. It's alright. Cousin Sonia's back. Yay!
Yay! Emily hasn't told Jill who her real father is. Oh, awkward. Oh. Only that he left them. Which, you know, it's not the best, but at least she didn't, like, pretend that her stepfather is her real father, you know? At least we know that. That's
at least
less
she didn't
terrible.
pretend that her real father's, you know, like Neil Armstrong or something, you know, make up the fact that it's somebody famous. No, he can't be with us because he's busy.
Oh, he's busy flying off to other planets. Because that's what Neil Armstrong did, fly to other planets. Excuse me. So Emily is happily married now to a loving husband who is an excellent stepfather to Jill, not a current and or former astronaut. She never wanted to tell Jill who her real father was because all the royals and everyone at court are terrible people. Well, too bad, because Jill needs to go to court now to help Lissa take control of the Dragomir line. Rose tries to convince Emily that Lissa can change everything if only she has a family quorum for the council, and now she can!
Yay!
Emily thinks that everyone at court is terrible, and it's probably for the best that the Dragomir line has all but died out.
Harsh.
It is very harsh. Jill disagrees and wants to help Lissa and Rose, and then Sonia helps convince Emily that now that Jill knows who she is, she's gonna go to court whether Mom likes it or not. Eventually, they all agree to go together and offer to let Rose, Sydney, and Sonia stay the night. Oh, but they have some friends in the car.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's criminals in the car. Lots of them. It's a clown car full of criminals. Sonia and Robert use spirit compulsion to conceal both Robert and Victor's identities, and they all come into the house. Emily, the consummate host, calls in a feeder and prepares dinner. While the Moroi are feeding, guess what? Rose checks in on Lissa.
Just got this image of preparing dinner and actually you've got the feeder and you're just kind of like washing them down and powdering the nose with a deodorant.
Yeah. brushing their hair. Yep. They actually eat food too. Come on.
Oh, it's tickled me.
Put on this nice dress. Tie your hair up. Make sure you don't have anything in your teeth.
Lissa, Christian, Adrian and Eddie are on their way to see Ambrose, who has important information about Tatiana. He found an ominous, unsigned note in her safe that is vaguely threatening about her believing in spirit, supporting Lissa, letting Moroi train to fight, and not forcing all Dampiers to become guardians. They leave after that and encounter a Moroi none of them knows, who tries to stab Lissa. Luckily, Eddie was there, but the Moroi is very strong, even though his hand is weird, and in the end, Eddie has to stake him. Other guardians rush in then and comfort Eddie, but then Dimitri is there, calling Rose back to herself. They have an intimate moment after Rose tells him what she saw with Lissa and how she desperately wants to go back to protect her, and how she accidentally lets slip to Adrian that they're not where they said they were, and they're with Robin and Victor. But he'll keep their secret. Dimitri says Adrian is a good man and asks if Rose loves him.
Yes, he is.
After some thought, she says she does, which makes Dimitri falter. He tells her she's so beautiful it hurts him and that things are changing as he heals from being Strigoi. Before any more can come of that, Sydney accidentally interrupts and they begin to plan how they're going to get back to court. But then, Guardians raise the house. Raise the house? But then, Guardians raid the house.
Guardians raise the roof. Woo.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
And then the
Guardians in
sirens
the
hit.
house. Whoop,
Wow.
whoop.
Wow. Whoop, 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 whoop. Well, shit. The Guardians are swarming the house. Sydney creates a diversion, allowing Rose and Dimitri to jump out the window, but they're not in the clear yet. And now Rose has hurt her ankle.
Dang it.
There are Guardians everywhere, and they're shooting, but Rose and Dimitri are able to fight off enough of them and sneak into a house. They steal the car parked in the garage and nonchalantly drive out of the neighborhood. Somehow, they made it. Dimitri stops at a superstore and buys food, first aid supplies, and a tent, and they end up camping for the night. Dimitri carefully tends to Rose's ankle, causing a stirring of feelings.
Ooh.
And they worry about what's going to happen next. Do you need to, take a moment, take a breather?
It's fine.
He's touching my ankle.
It's just so hot. I mean, to be fair, they're making that little tent all hot and steamy.
They really are. Ugh. Okay, so, excuse me, back to what's at stake. Is Emily gonna take Jill to court and tell the truth about her heritage? Was it Victor and Robert who turned them in? Where are they now? Is Sonia okay, or is she in former Strigoi custody? Rose finds out the answer to some of those questions when Sonia visits her in a spirit dream. But they're not the answers anyone wants to hear. Sonia was able to escape by compelling the Guardians not to see her, but Victor fucking goddamn son of a bitch Dashkoff and Robert got away. And they took Jill.
Bastards.
But they weren't the ones who called the Guardians. That was Emily's husband. Ugh.
Dick. The dream doesn't end there, but it gets a little less terrible. Sonia can find Jill in her dreams if Robert and Victor will ever let her sleep, so that's good. And Rose has told her where they are hiding so she can meet back up with them. Then Rose asks her about something that happened earlier on their drive to Emily's house. Sonia knew that Rose was in the spirit dream because of her aura, but was surprised when Rose told her that she was with Adrian, her boyfriend. Rose now asks why. Sonia tells her that her aura had a loving glow when she was with Adrian, but it's nothing compared to her aura when she's with Dimitri. and his is the same when he's with her. Sonia doesn't believe in soulmates, but she does believe in auras mirroring each other. Rose doesn't deny that she still has feelings for Dimitri, but says that it's over between them, since Dimitri was restored. He told her he wants nothing to do with her. Oh well. Dimitri also told Sonia some things, like not giving up on love and beauty in your life, and not letting guilt and regret make her make the same mistakes he did in his recovery. He loves her, he wants to kiss her, they're going to bowling in the tent. Spoilers.
Rose checks in on Lissa after leaving Sonia's dream. She, Christian, Adrian, and Eddie are being interrogated by Hans, the head court guardian, after Eddie killed the Moroi who tried to kill Lissa. None of them know who that Moroi is, but then Lissa remembers Joe the janitor and bribe receiver mentioning a nondescript guy with a weird hand. And you know what? That's this guy. Lissa suggests the guardians find Joe the janitor and talk to him. After this, Hans tells them that Rose was spotted kidnapping some girl named Jill, and then he brings in Sydney and 2 other alchemists. All of Rose's friends are shocked to hear about Jill and to learn that Rose isn't in hiding like she said she was. Adrian doesn't let on that he knows anything, 'cause he's so good. He's good. Love him. He's good.
Hans asks Sydney about Rose, and she tells them very convincing lies and half-truths about why she was with Rose, but gives no details about Jill, or the fact that Victor and Robert were there. Hans doesn't truly believe her, but the other alchemists insist on leaving. One, a guy named Ian, sees the picture of the nondescript Moroi guy and recognises him, but Lissa can't get anything out of him before they leave. Abe arrives then to escort Lissa to her next Monarch trial and to find out what's going on with Sydney. She was supposedly working for him, but apparently she had other ideas, and he needs to find out what they are. Lissa goes in for her test, which is just a simple question. What must a queen possess in order to truly rule her people?
Rose leaves Lissa after that to find that Dimitri has curled his way into her lap. Oh dear. Oh no. Rose gives in and strokes his hair, waking him up. Just as they're about to kiss, he gets up, saying he can't do it. Rose knows he's able to love again, and she tells him so. But then Sonia arrives, and the tension breaks. Sonia compellingly stole a car and came to tell them she knows where Jill is. She heals Rose's ankle, and then they drive to the motel Jill described and wait for the kidnappers to make their move. When they do, it's bad. Rose goes after Victor, who tells her that if he controls Jill, then he controls Lissa and the Dragomir line. This makes Rose snap. The darkness in her takes over, and though he tries to use his earth magic to stop her, Rose beats Victor to death.
Whoa.
Sonia finally gets her to stop beating the corpse because her mind is broken. It's terrible, and I shouldn't be laughing because terrible, terrible things are happening, but anyway, she's rambling and clearly in shock. Robert arrives then and tries to call Victor's spirit back, but then Dimitri knocks him out. Sonia asks Rose to look for Victor's spirit, but it's gone. Then Sonia takes a silver necklace from Jill, makes it into a healing charm, and gives it to Rose. It will help now, but for how long? Stop! Stop! He's already dead. Oh. It's terrible.
They go to the hotel to rest with plans for Sonia to take Jill to court. Rose checks in on Lissa, who is with her friends and one of the guardians who taught Lissa how to stake pillows. The other guardian she trained with was working for the Queen, training reluctant Moroi how to fight, but he died the night Dimitri was restored. Lissa asks for a list of the Moroi he was training. Lissa is almost sure she knows who killed the Queen, and with this list, she'll be closer to figuring it out. For now, she has to worry about the trial and how there are many non-royals, and royals too, who think she should be the next queen.
Rose comes back to herself, and she and Dimitri are together. He tries to make her forgive herself for killing Victor because it wasn't her fault. She tries to make him forgive himself for killing people when he was Strigoi because it wasn't his fault. He confesses it was Rose that made him realize he could be himself again and begin to forgive himself. He loves her, and she loves him too. So they have sex. Yay. She'll deal with Adrian when they get back. She loves him too, but only as a friend, she realizes, because he's still becoming the man he's meant to be. Rose gives Dimitri an ultimatum, though. Before they can be together and have the fairy tale life they deserve, he has to fully forgive himself. She falls asleep, wrapped in Dimitri's embrace, and into an Adrian dream.
Ew.
Womp womp.
Ew.
Gross.
Well, that's gross.
It's so gross. It's so gross. I hate it.
That's not nice.
Mm-mm.
So, I mean, she feels badly about sleeping with Dimitri and then being with Adrian in his dream. He can see that her aura is radiant, which he comments on, but only because he's surprised she can be so glowing when lots of terrible things are happening. Oh my god, this is so awkward.
It's bad.
They decide that someone has to talk to alchemist Ian about the Mangle Hand Man. Adrian says there's no way because only guardians are allowed to visit the alchemists and they're all busy with the election. Rose tells him to get Mikhail to meet her at a place near where the alchemists are staying, and then he will talk to Ian. The dream ends after that plan is put into place. Dimitri is still asleep and they still have time before they need to leave, so Rose checks on Lissa. Oh man.
I hate it. I hate everything about it.
I really felt for Adrian there, actually. That was unfair. Really unfair.
Yeah. It's gross. Lissa's on her way to complete her trial with Christian, Tasha, and Janine escorting her. Lissa still doesn't know the answer to her riddle, but stops thinking about that when she receives the list of Moroi who were being trained to fight. Tasha is shocked to learn of this list and the many important names on it because she thought the Queen didn't want Moroi to fight. Everyone else thought that same thing too, Tasha, don't worry. The list includes people who are running for the crown and Daniela Ivashkov. No time to think about that. Lissa's almost late for her trial, which she learns is being given by the last queen. She thought the old lady who administered her fear test and gave her her riddle was just that, some old lady, but no. This is Ekaterina Zeklos, the queen before Tatiana. Holy shit. Well, no time to think about that either. She has her trial and passes. The answer to the riddle is nothing. A queen has to have nothing because she gives everything to her people. Success!
Yay!
Now, all that's left is for her to give a speech the next day, and then voting begins. But she can't even be queen. Dimitri rouses Rose, telling her that they have to leave. But first, she needs Sonia to make her a charm, and they have to stop in the town where the alchemists are. Then, she reveals that Daniela killed Tatiana, and they're going to get proof. Daniela, who was being forced to fight by Tatiana, who was sleeping with Ambrose and was therefore jealous of Tatiana, who didn't like Tatiana's interest in spirit because of Adrian, and who wouldn't mind at all if Rose was locked away or dead, has to be the one who killed the queen. That's a lot of solid, semi-solid evidence.
Yeah.
It's speculation, but it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Lys's speech goes really well, and there are tons of Moroi of all kinds there to witness it. The other two speeches are okay, but Lys's was compelling, not spiritually, but actually, and made promises that she could keep if she were allowed to become queen. Promises of working together, royals, non-royals, and Dampiers, to fight the Strigoi who are easily killing them because there's so much infighting amongst them. Those who want to fight will be able to, and those who don't want to fight don't have to. It's really amazing and simple, but unfortunately, since she has no family, she's not allowed to go any farther in the election. And she can't vote either because only the council votes. And again, she has no family. So she's dismissed. And then the chaos erupts. There's no way the council will be able to vote now because of it. Just like they planned. Well done. Well done.
Good plan, Victor fucking goddamn son of a bitch. May you rest in peace.
Pieces?
Pieces? Rose, Dimitri, Jill, and Sonia arrive at the meeting place. Rose is upset to find that Adrian has come with Mikhail, but that's not important right now. What is important is that Mikhail and Sonia are back together. Neither of them knew the other would be at this meeting, and their reunion is so sweet and heartwarming, and you just want to love them forever. When it's over, they get ready to go see the alchemists. Just Mikhail and a spirit-concealed Rose. Adrian talks to Jill to see how she's mixed up in all of this, and Rose and Dimitri are off to the side. Dimitri tells Rose to be careful and kisses the top of her head just as Adrian comes over, and his heart shatters.
Oh.
But it's time to go. Rose and Mikhail get in to see Sydney and Ian with literally no trouble at all. Thanks, Sonia, and your spirit charm. So great. When they ask Ian about the Manglehand man, he says he doesn't know him, but recognizes him as a Moroi who accompanied a female Moroi to one of the alchemist facilities. He doesn't know who the woman was either, but when he describes her, it's not who Rose thought it would be. But who was it? Ooh. We don't know. We don't know.
What? Oh, the plot thickens, the plot thickens.
Oh.
They leave the alchemists and meet back up with Adrian, Dimitri, Jill and Sonia and explain what they learned. Now, tell us all, yes. Now all that's left to do is to take Jill to court and tell them who killed Tatiana. With what Ian said and the information he had previously about Daniela, it really seemed like the two were working together, or if not together, separately, but for the same cause. Oh well, we'll worry about that later. Adrian disguises Dimitri with his own kind of spirit magic, and they all, minus Sonia, go to court. With their disguises in place, and with Mikhail being a trusted guardian, with Adrian being, well, Adrian, they make it to the council meeting just fine. Abe and Janine appear and offer to help them once they realise that they'll be helping their daughter. They go up to the microphone and introduce Jill as a member of the Dragomir family. Another eruption of chaos and disbelief happens, of course. But surprisingly, Daniela backs up their claim. Rose realises this was what Daniela was doing when they thought she was murdering the Queen. She was finding evidence of Jill's existence, which she knew about because she helped cover it up in the first place, to delegitimise the Dragomir name and the reappearance of spirit magic. After it's decided that a simple DNA test will prove who Jill is, the only thing left to learn is, who is the person telling them all this? Rose removes her charm and announces herself, and that Tasha Ozara killed Tatiana. Bum, bum, bum.
What? Yikes. No one takes this well. Tasha says that she knew all along that Rose was innocent and that it must have been her paid Maroi guard, James, the Manglehand man, who did it. He even tried to kill Lissa, but then was killed by Eddie. Shucks. But Dimitri says that wasn't part of Tasha's plan. Eddie wasn't supposed to be there, and no one was supposed to get hurt that night, just scared. Lissa was supposed to be attacked to garner sympathy so more people would love her and want her to be queen. Rose adds that with Lissa as queen, with Tasha behind her, everything that Tasha wants for Maroi would come to pass. When Dimitri said what he said, Rose looked at Tasha through Lissa's eyes and saw her aura flare with love and heartbreak at hearing Dimitri accuse her of murder. And that's the last piece of the puzzle. Why Rose was set up. Because Tasha is in love with Dimitri and has been all along. And with Rose out of the way, they could be together. Sheesh.
Nope.
The Guardians nearby begin to move in on Tasha, but she won't go without a fight. She grabs a gun from a Guardian and grabs the closest Maroi hostage she can, Mia Rinaldi. Oh, but Mia is a fighter too. Lissa begins to freak out and decides to compel Tasha to go quietly into custody. She steps toward her. Rose knows Lissa's going to try to get Tasha's attention, so she moves too. And then Tasha shoots, and Rose goes down.
Oh no.
Oh.
Oh no.
Oh no.
The end.
The end! Rose is dead!
She wakes up in a huge fluffy bed with stitches and bandages on her chest. Dimitri is not far away. He tells her that she went into surgery and has been out for a few days. Lissa didn't heal her. Adrian didn't heal her. She healed herself, or is still currently healing herself. Dimitri also tells her that after Tasha shot her, it was pretty obvious that she killed the queen. Really? Really? So, the both of them are no longer fugitives. Yay! And their guardian status has been restored. Double yay!
Yay!
She is now Lissa's guardian, and he is Christian's. It seems their fairy tale life together can actually happen now. They kiss, but are interrupted by Lissa, who has come for a visit. Dimitri leaves them, but promises to return. Lissa reveals that she is now queen. What? But why didn't Rose realise that already? Because their bond is broken. Rose probably died a little when she was shot. How'd you die a little? And fought her way back on her own, breaking the bond, and spirits need to bind her to life. Wow, this is huge. It's so weird as well not to have that sense of Lissa anymore, but they'll get through it together. Lissa is kind of pissed that she's queen now because of Rose's harebrained scheme, but we all know that Lissa will be a good queen. Now she has a favour to ask Rose, to go with her to ask Jill to be part of her coronation ceremony. Things are weird between the new sisters, but they will get better. Eventually.
When Rose gets back to her room, Adrian is there.
Oh.
She hasn't seen him since she was shot, but now it's finally time for them to talk about the end of their relationship. And this is where I get really mad. Rose treats him like absolute shit here, and I hate it more than anything. Adrian asks if Rose and Dimitri had anything going on before they left court, but even though they didn't, it doesn't make anything better. Rose tells Adrian that she's not the one for him, that they don't match. She loves him, but only as a friend now, and someday he'll find the right person. It's all shitty breakup lines, and nothing she says makes anything better. He says he loved her, but he wasn't the only one who was hurt by all her escapades. What about Eddie, whose life as a guardian is tarnished by what Rose got him into? What about Jill, who was ripped out of her normal life and who is now royalty? What about Lissa, who is now queen? There are a lot of victims in Rose's wake, and she says that is why they're not meant for each other, because he sees himself as a victim, and she will always fight for herself and for others. Fucking yikes. He leaves then, and she's not sure she'll ever see him again, and I don't fucking blame him, because that is gross. Everything about this chapter was awful, and I hated it. Sorry, excuse me. I need to calm down now. I was so mad. I was so mad. She was saying so many fucking patronizing things to him, and she cheated on him, and he's crushed. I hate it. More on that to come later, I'm sure.
Definitely. The soapbox is due any moment. Rose wakes up the next day in Dimitri's arms, the only place she wants to be. But too soon, it's time for the coronation. While waiting for things to begin, Rose talks to her parents. Both Abe and Janine are proud of their daughter for all she's accomplished. Breaking out of court, finding out about the illegitimate Dragomir, and then finding her, solving Queen Tatiana's murder, helping her friend become queen, and breaking back into court. Then Dimitri joins them, and Abe goes into overprotective father mode, saying he has a lot of questions for Dimitri. Janine has a few questions of her own as well, but now it's time for Lissa to be crowned. There's a huge processional, and then Lissa goes to the throne, is made to swear by former Queen Ekaterina to uphold all her vows as queen, and is then crowned by Jill. Lissa smiles out at her subjects, but has a special smile for Christian and especially for Rose. It's weird for Rose to be her own person now and not be bonded to Lissa, but she knows that with her best friend as queen and Dimitri by her side, everything will be fine. The end.
The end.
The end.
Aww. The end.
Right. We need to take a break. You need to collect your soapbox. And the listeners need to prepare themselves.
For my flaming rage.
Yes.
I might have gotten it all out, though. But we'll see. Right after this. Please remember that Fictional Hangover is a free podcast and always will be. If you'd like to support the show, stop listening to us for just a few minutes. Become a patron of ours on Patreon at patreon.com/fictionalhangover, then come back. If you can't do this monthly but still want to support us because you just like the show so much, head over to Ko-fi at ko-fi.com/fictionalhangover to drop us a one-time tip. Your support on Patreon and Ko-fi will help us bring you more spoiler-filled discussions, book character cosplays, and ridiculous content you know and love. Now, back to the episode.
Right. Has your soapbox come?
Yes.
The floor is yours.
Hate with a flaming, burning passion of 1,000 suns the way things ended with Rose and Adrian.
Yeah, it wasn't cool at all. Rose has...
No.
Adrian was completely right to say to Rose she has a lot of bodies in her wake.
Yeah.
There's a lot of damage.
Yeah. I hate it. I hate it so much because Dimitri, come on. Ooh. Dimitri was struggling with falling back into love with Rose, or, being in love with her the whole time. Because now she's with Adrian, which he, kind of pushed her into a little bit. And he doesn't want to be dishonorable. You know? He's like, this is really, like, the most dishonorable thing I could do, and I hate it. And part of me returning to my former self is keeping that honor that I've always had my entire life. And so I hate that we've got this stuff going on between the two of us when you're still with Adrian. And Rose is like, yeah, okay, I guess so. But let's fuck. And then they do, And then they're all so happy, and she's glowing, and everything is, so great between them. And just there's Adrian popping into her dreams like, hey, babe, how's it going? And she's like, oh, it's fine. Can't break up with you in a dream. That's worse than breaking up through text. Hate it.
No.
Hate everything about it. Adrian is so good. And yeah, he's not the man he's supposed to be yet, whatever, because he's still a kid. And
that's
so
a bullshit
is
line, by the
she.
way. That is an absolute bullshit line.
It is. It is. But spoiler alert, it's true. Please.
Well, yes, it can be true. It can be completely true, but you don't say that to a person in a breakup. It's a bullshit line in a breakup.
No. Everything that she says to him is like the most trite garbage.
It's not you, it's me. We're not meant to be together. We're not soulmates. I love you, but I don't love you like that. Yeah.
You'll find your true mate eventually. And the whole time she's saying all of this to him, by the way, she's saying, like, in her own head, there are so many snide comments. Like, yeah, you'll find the person you're eventually supposed to be with. It probably won't be one of all those bitches you're about to go sleep with. Or maybe you'll find them if you're not drunk. Or maybe you'll find them if you're not out smoking. Like, why? It's like she hates him. It's like she hates him in her head.
Yeah.
She clearly hates everything about him.
Yeah.
And I can't stand it.
I think you could get that. I think, when you get to that breakup scene and you think back to their interactions and how often she sees Adrian drunk or smoking when she's in Lissa's mind. Not in the dreams, when she's in Lissa's mind and she sees Adrian. She sees him indulging in his vices. And the signs are all there that she hates this side of him. I mean, look at the fact that he had to make an entire proposal into why she should be dating him. And one of, some of the key factors was that he was going to be giving up smoking and drinking. She doesn't like the vast majority of what Adrian is. She doesn't want to deal with his baggage.
But
She's
his
lazy.
baggage is because he's a spirit user. And he doesn't have someone like her bound to him who can help him cope with all of this stuff. So that's the way he's dealing with it. Not saying that his addictive personality and all of this stuff is good in any way, but it's the only thing he has to keep himself from going crazy and killing himself.
Exactly. She's not the support. I get the impression that Rose is more than happy to be as a support mechanism for Lissa and her spirit use. But beyond that, she's not interested. It really highlighted this one, how we know Rose is a flawed character. She is a very flawed, as much as we like her being a badass, she is a hugely flawed character who needs to grow the hell up and mature in her relationships. She treated Adrian like shit. This episode,
She really did.
This installment.
She really
absolutely treated him like shit. And yeah, I've always said I can't see Rose and Adrian together. And I didn't like it. And Adrian should have been friend zoned from the beginning. They should never have had a relationship because he's been so hard done by with this. It's shocking. And he gave her a lot of truths. A hell of a lot of truths. And there's more people that she's left in her wake damaged than what he said. I mean, look what she did to Victor Dashkov, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
The guy was evil, but you don't beat someone into a corpse and then keep beating on the corpse.
No, and plus, he's an old man, and he's really sick.
Yeah.
And his brother, Victor was the only person that Robert had. And Robert is also a deranged spirit user. And now what's he gonna do?
He's going back to prison.
Doesn't matter. He wasn't in prison. He didn't do anything wrong.
Well,
Robert didn't do anything.
No, he'll be going back to get help, which will essentially be prison. They'll put him in a Victorian-style asylum. That's what's going to happen to Robert. And it's not his fault. It's because of spirit.
I hate it. I hate it, though. Rose clearly she's very self-centered in this one, and you really see it all happening. Like, there were a couple of times even where she wasn't very nice to Sonya, who was just restored from being a Strigoi, because she turned Strigoi because she was dealing with being a deranged spirit user, and now she's like, well, you made it out okay. Like, dude, let her deal. And like when Dimitri was telling her, leave Sonya alone for a while because she's dealing with some shit, and she's like, oh no, we don't have time for that. Give her a day.
She was either going 60 miles an hour or she was doing nothing. It was an all or nothing situation. Or she was
sitting in the car dreaming about Lissa. Or not dreaming, but it was
a lot. That I appreciate going and seeing what's happening in court, but there was a lot of Rose unconscious in some variety, way, or shape, or form in this one. She was either dreaming and talking to Adrian, or she was in Lissa's eyes. And it was a lot. There was a lot there.
It kind of reminded me of that time that Percy Jackson kept falling asleep.
Yes!
And being knocked out.
And we counted it.
We did. It kind of reminded me of that. I get it, though. And it's like, I still think that it's brilliant that they had this bond, and that's how we could see what was going on with Lissa while they were apart. Brilliant writing, but good plan. But they needed to be closer together in some of these books, because it was like, okay, well, now I'm just gonna check in on Lissa. I'm gonna check in on Lissa.
Yeah.
Check in on Lissa.
It was a little weird.
Happened a lot. Anyway, so clearly that's what I hate. That's what I hate about this book. Hate it. But there are things that I liked too, because I love this series. Don't get me wrong, just because I was in flaming rage about Rose being a terrible human being, there were things that I liked too.
Oh, well, that's it. I mean, there was more that I liked about the book than put me into a flaming rage. I mean, it's unforgivable. I mean, what Rose did, it's unforgivable. You just need to say, Adrian, I'm sorry, we need to stop. Things are getting too much for me being out here with Dimitri. And Adrian probably would have gone, okay, kind of guess that was going to happen. Wouldn't have been happy about it. Would have been pissed off. Would have said some nasty things. But nobody cheated.
No, and it would have been fine. And everyone's honor would be just where it needs to be. I have issues with cheating too. Like, I don't like it. So this was a hard one for me.
Yeah. Okay.
And even though we know that Adrian was the rebound guy, we already discussed this in a previous episode, but still.
You don't treat the rebound guy like shit. Right, let's go on to some happy stuff.
Yes!
Joshua's proposal.
I loved the keepers. I loved that whole just...
You like my cave? Can I show you my cave, Amanda? Do you want to see my cave?
Yeah, I want to see your cave.
Yeah, I'll show you my cave.
Yeah.
For 2. And one day, I'm going to get a house with a loft.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. You like electricity? No,
we ain't got that here. Don't worry about it,
You want coffee? Think again.
But you know what they did have? Bacon. So that's good.
Yeah. Did you find the keepers just a little bit kind of like out of... Is the sports term out of left field appropriate? Like,
I believe it is. It's crazy.
Yeah. What's going on here? Why are these suddenly a thing? I almost felt with certain things in this book, like, again, without knowing what's going to happen in Bloodlines, it's like she's completely set Adrian up to be the lead from this book. Like, he's pissed, he's gone off, and this is what happens to him. Same with Sydney. What the hell happens to Sydney? You know? What does Abe have over Sydney? There's so many questions left over there. So it makes sense. That's why she's in Bloodlines. We're hopefully going to find out what's going on there. Because I needs to know. But also, like, things like the Keepers, as I was listening to it, I was thinking, are these going to be a part of Bloodlines as well? Because what the hell? Where do these guys come from?
Why did you throw them in here at the end?
Yeah.
This book was really long, and if you left the Keepers out, I mean, that would have cut out a couple of chapters.
Yeah. It seemed a little bit like, well, they could have just gone to a motel again. Why did... It just felt... unless something is bigger made of the Keepers, it feels like superfluous to me. But I enjoyed it. It's the same... Angeline. You know, she wants to fight. She wants to fight. She wants to come to society. She, should be an excellent guardian. So I'm thinking, okay, is Angeline now being set up to be in the Bloodlines series? Because there was just so much of these little things around this area. I mean, you've left these loose ends. What's going on? Why? It's the same a couple of books ago when she started mentioning Miss Carp again. And we're like, alright, if you're going to mention Miss Carp's coming back. It's like when we talked about Jackson Ford's books. And Chewy Carlos. And Carlos was mentioned. And we're like, is Carlos coming back? You know, it's one of those, is it there for a reason? Or is it just completely random? So I've got questions. Lots of questions. Weird. What the hell was going on? I'm his wife, you're human, but the Moroi is his wife as well. Oh, bloody cults, man. Commune cults are weird. I don't get it.
Terrible. It's terrible.
They'll be on Discovery Channel. Oh god, yeah. You know there'll be a documentary on them on Discovery Channel.
Oh, there will be. So good.
So,
you know...
bloody Joshua. It's my cage.
Oh. All that randomness aside, I really, really liked getting back to the actual storyline and finding Sonya and finding out that she is important with the illegitimate Dragomir, and I liked her whole storyline in this one being restored and seeing all of her spirit magic that she had. She had literally every single spirit skill that we've learned about.
Wicked powerful, wasn't she?
Yes.
Which you kind of now appreciate why she went Strigoi, because she couldn't handle all of that power. I mean, do you think she's stronger than Lyssa? Lyssa's pretty strong. Yeah.
I definitely think she is. Only because they both have an amazing amount of compulsion abilities.
Yes.
But Lyssa can't dreamwalk. And
it does take her a while to make the healing charms, where Sonya just went, pass me that, 2 seconds later, wear this.
Yeah. And the, plant growing thing, Lyssa can do that a little bit. But Sonya lives in a jungle because she's grown all of these flowers. And let's see, there's something else. She can dreamwalk, which Lyssa can't do. She can see auras, which Lyssa struggled to learn how to do and could kind of do it. And Adrian's really good at that.
With the auras as well, isn't it?
Yes. And Adrian can do that very well. We know that. That's the thing that got him started, realizing that he could use spirit. But it's just, she can do it all. She can do literally every single thing.
Yeah.
And I don't blame her for going
worried about Sonya. I'm happy she's back with Mikhail. I'm just overwhelmed with joy. They're winning couple out this book, to be fair. Even though Team Dimitri. But I'm worried that she's going to regress.
Yeah.
Because,
but to be fair... There was that line, though, where at the end, she's talking to Rose, and Rose is like, I don't know how to deal with this, and what's Lyssa gonna do without me taking her darkness away? And Sonya's like, we all have to deal with that. I'm a spirit user too, and I've been dealing with it. Yeah, I turned Strigoi, but I'm fucking back now, so shut up. But, like, this is just how it is. And she's like, well, what's Lissa gonna do? She's gonna deal with it, like I've been dealing with it. And then they mention Oksana, which we learned about in book 4 when Rose was in Russia.
Yeah.
And we learned that, like, she and her husband have like a thing where they'll essentially pass the darkness back and forth between them until it's gone. So we know that there are things that they can do. There are charms that they can wear. There are things that they can do to make their lives okay. But I like that she says that. Like, we're dealing with it. Yeah. Everything is fine. Shut up. It's not all about you, Rose.
And she does have Mikhail to help her as a support mechanism for that as well. You know, she's
They're
got
not bound,
somebody.
But
no,
still.
But she has support there. Robert doesn't have anybody. He had Victor. Victor died.
Yeah. Adrian doesn't have anybody.
Adrian doesn't have anyone yet. But yeah. And considering how strong Sonia is, and that's the thing with Rose, she's constantly, but to be fair, I mean, in all fairness to Rose, she's been raised to say, you know, you help the Moroi, you are there for the Moroi, you do everything for the Moroi. So, and she's taken it to the nth degree with Lissa, especially because of being spirit bound to her. So, you know, she doesn't see Lissa as being able to do anything without her. She sees Lissa as being completely helpless. The bitch is queen now. You're her guardian.
A couple of books ago, sure, Lissa couldn't do a goddamn thing on her own. But with Rose going to Russia, Lissa learned, hey, I gotta do things for myself sometimes.
Yeah. And she started to step up, actually. Yeah. And she started to realise her own power, not including spirit, her own inner power, her own self-worth, and what she can and can't do for others. And seeing all the Moroi royals and non-royals be there for her, cheering her on, and they don't know her at all. They just see the potential. That's got to be a bit of a confidence boost. Yeah. Terrifying, but also a confidence boost.
Yeah. I really loved Lissa's trials, and I loved her speech that she gave. Her speech was amazing. And, like, yeah, we didn't get to see much of the other two, but the one guy was, like, angrily yelling and slamming his opponents, which isn't classy. And the other lady was really, like, droll and not exciting at all. But here's Lissa, full of, like, actual passion for things that she wants to change because she's lived these things and she sees how terrible things are going right now. And she has actual ideas to fix it.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah. It was refreshing. And this just kind of, for all the fact how all these books are, it just keeps coming back to the same thing that was said repeatedly on the show. And you say it much more eloquently than me about how the future is not in our hands. The future is in the, like, you know, the newer generations coming into power and finding their power. And they're going to change the world. And they're going to change the world for the better because they have seen how fucked up everything is and how the older generations have messed things up. They're going to fix it.
Yep. And that's actually, like, what is happening in this book, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. And Lissa's going to be strong enough to, like, tell people back off. But also take counsel. Yes. So, yeah, I'm excited for Lissa, actually.
Yeah.
Finally.
It is. Finally, we like Lissa as a person. Yeah. She's finally good.
Yeah.
What else?
The library scene. Can I just take that for a second?
Oh, yes. I love the library scene. Oh. Sitting on the floor, pointing at pictures in a book. Like, it was so cute.
It really was. It was adorable. And you know how last book, Dimitri was a bit of a wet fart.
Yes.
And it was like, come on, dude. I mean, I still love you, but you need to get into therapy. You need to deal with what's happened, and you need to try and come back to yourself. And he does! And he's so freaking hot. And he's back, and he's Dimitri, and he has principles, and he has morals, and Rose, and he has passion, and drive, and kicks ass, and Dimitri's back. He's back, baby.
So, reading this through, this is only the second time I've read this book. I've read some of the other ones multiple times, but this is only the second time I've read this one. And clearly I love Adrian, but now, being much older than the first time I read it, I can understand why Dimitri is the one for Rose, and that's fine, but I don't like it. Because I don't like what happened to Adrian, but I don't want to start talking about that again because I'll never ever stop. But I did like Adrian. I mean, I did like, see, it's just ingrained. I like Adrian. I did like seeing Dimitri come back to himself.
Yeah. Because
I hated him in the last book. He was just he was just a spineless, weepy Dimitri, and I didn't like him. But I like him again.
Yeah.
I like him again now.
I can give him a lot of leeway because, I mean, he'd been Strigoi and he'd risen quite quickly highly into the Strigoi ranks. To do that, he'll have done a lot of bad things that he would never, if he was himself, do, and that's going to take a lot to get over. It's not like Sonia. Sonia will have done a lot of bad things as well, being Strigoi, but she wasn't within the hierarchy of the Strigoi. She was, keeping herself to herself.
Yeah, and she wasn't a guardian beforehand, which is also, that's the complete opposite.
Yeah. Exactly. And he didn't have anybody to just give him those kind words that needed to be said because nobody knew what to say to him. At least he could offer that to Sonia. And that was fantastic. Yeah. And I think him helping Sonia recover helped him recover as well.
Definitely.
They helped each other. Because Sonia's I love the Sonia character. I love her. I wish she was in it more, to be honest. I would like a Sonia Mikhail short story, just to get my teeth into that. So yeah, I think I'm giving Dimitri a lot of leeway because he'll have done a lot of bad things. And I mean, he was really horrible. Like, what he did to Rose in Siberia was not good.
Yeah, but he also kept her alive and kept her safe from all the other Strigoi, which, you could still kind of see him, like, you could see himself in that.
Yes.
But
there was echoes.
It was
echoes
gross
of the original Dimitri there. But while he's busy keeping her safe, he's gone and killed 10 people.
Yes.
Swings and roundabouts. So he's done a lot of bad things. It's going to take a long time to recover, and he does need to recover. So I can give him a lot of leeway. That's why he was, a wet door in book 5. But I'm so glad he found himself. I'm so glad he's starting to heal.
Me too.
And I felt so sorry for him when he had to make those phone calls and be Strigoi Dimitri. It must have been like wearing a horrible skin. Ugh.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of wearing stuff, I love this. I love that he loses his duster and he gets real sad about it.
Oh!
I loved that. I thought
In the bag of necessities that Sydney provides, She brings him a duster.
Yeah, she doesn't bring anything good for Rose to wear, but she gives Dimitri a duster, and then he has to leave it behind.
And he's
so
sad.
about it.
Oh, Dimitri. So who are your favourite characters then?
Oh, Sonia for sure. And I love Sydney in this one.
Same. Definitely the same. I would even possibly even say Lissa. Dare I say.
Yeah. Yeah, Lissa was much better in this one.
The speech alone upped her credibility. And the fact that she tackled all of the trials by herself.
Yeah, and the fact that she went through it all anyway, even though, you know, at the time, nothing was going to come of it. But she still did it. And then she realized, you know, this is important to literally everyone else, so I should probably try and do good. And then she did. And then she got to become queen, and it was fine. It all worked out in the end.
Yay!
Yay!
That was good. I want to know more about Sydney, though. I'm worried about Sydney. I'm worried about what Abe's got over her and what's happening with the alchemists. I'm concerned.
Yeah, because this is really the first time that we've seen other alchemists. And we see that they're really strict and they hate vampires. And now Sydney's getting chummy with the evil creatures of the night. Like, how is she gonna change? She's clearly
that
a
the alchemists
person.
hate them so much. The Dampiers and the Moroi and the Strigoi. You can understand the Strigoi, you know, bloodthirsty, you know, traditional bloodsuckers of the night. But the Moroi and the Dampiers are more quote unquote civilized.
Yeah, they're basically normal people. Yeah.
The vegan vampires
for
all effect.
Yeah.
Vampire light.
They are, yeah.
It feels weird that the alchemists hate them so vehemently as well. Oh, that might just be me.
Well, you know, it's a very religious thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you get indoctrinated into that, it's kind of hard to fight your way out.
Cough, cough, brainwashing, cough, cough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keepers, alchemists. Pick your religion.
Yeah.
Do you know what we haven't talked about?
What?
The whodunit.
Yes, we have not talked about that at all. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about it being Tasha?
I'm not sure. It's one of my surprises, by the way. Just
yeah,
yeah,
sure, yeah, mine too, actually, because I knew it, but I had forgotten about all of the Daniela build-up too.
That was done very cleverly. I like that.
Yes.
You know, I didn't suspect Adrian's mom, but then as they started putting the little teasers in now, it would make sense.
It does make sense. And she was actually doing all of those things that they suspected her of doing, just, you know, not with murder as the outcome.
Yes. Yeah, there wasn't the ultimate killing of the queen. I'm surprised about Tasha, I think. I think I'm probably, because I thought she was more of a diplomat.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we've seen that the entire time. We've seen that, she kind of hates everything going on in court because everyone treats their family like garbage because, like, you know, her sibling became Strigoi, and then, so that automatically makes her garbage. And she wants to fight, and she's training others to fight, but it's not really allowed, so you can kind of understand it, but then you just think, but you're so good. How could you do that? We love you. We loved you, Tasha. How could you possibly kill the queen?
Yeah.
And also blame Rose, which is rough. But we knew she was in love with Dimitri since we met her in Frostbite.
Exactly. We
So
knew it was there.
It's been there the whole time.
It has. I kind of want to go back through the series now with the full knowledge and see if I can get the signs. If I can see it and go, I should have got it in book 3. Oh, that sign's there in book 2. You know, I'm interested to go back and listen to it if I get the time and the chance to see if I can see those signs. I do like to do that quite often with those kind of like whodunit things. Do I get, what did I miss?
Yeah.
You go, okay. What about Jill? Were you surprised by Jill being?
I mean, the first time I read it, yes, for sure. And everyone knows this. We write these summaries out, and we take turns when we write summaries. But I've done all of these books, and I tried to, in writing all of these summaries, I tried to mention Jill. Just throw her in so you wouldn't forget about her. Because I knew the whole time that she was the illegitimate Dragomir. And even in the last summary, I made sure to mention at the top of the summary that her mom is a ballerina. Because then later we found out, Eric Dragomir really had a thing for dancers. So I tried to sneak those notes in for you, and I really just wanted to ask you the whole time, did you know it was her?
I suspected. Purely because she didn't fit the mold for all of the other characters. Because of her age, she is significantly younger than the rest. They've all graduated now from St. Vladimir. She's still at school. So she's still school age. And I was like, it felt odd that she is so ingrained with a lot of the friendship group. It just felt a little bit odd. I mean, you do get the younger person being there, but usually the younger person is attached because of their sibling. Pointed look.
But she's just mentioned too many times. They made her she was made a character for no other reason, really.
The only other person it could have been for me was Mia.
Yeah.
That's the only other
same. It's the same with Mia. She's always mentioned.
Yeah.
But why?
Yeah.
Just because she's good.
Well,
just because we like her after her being a cunt in the first book. We like her.
Oh, completely. But yeah, she's the relationship with her. I'm sure it's a relationship with her father is in the court. Her father is at court, and I was thinking, no, if it's going to be someone, it's going to be one of these two people. But I didn't feel like it was going to be Mia. I felt like it was going to be Jill because she's mentioned too often in the books and in the summary for it to be nothing. And the fact that we actually did meet her mum, it just, the push was there. And as soon as Lissa's dad comes to Vegas as a kid. To be fair, the fact that, her brother was a player, why would it be any different for the father? I mean, I'm not saying it's hereditary or anything, but it wouldn't surprise me that the Dragomir men, they've got a pattern. There is a pattern there. So I wasn't surprised that it was Jill. I mean, there was other things I was more gaspy about. I was just kind of waiting for it to happen.
I just had a terrible thought.
Oh.
You know how you had the slightest idea that it was Mia? But Mia and Andre were hooking up.
Yeah.
And then, but it also would kind of make sense,
We've all seen Star Wars. Come on.
Yeah. But the dad says, hey son, you need to stop sleeping with her because she's your sister, okay? And he's like, oh, I gotta break up. Sorry. And now she's, distraught. She's distraught and angry, and she hates all the Dragomir. That would have been funny. Gross,
but again,
funny.
That wouldn't have been surprising. We've all seen Star Wars and Luke and Leia. It's wrong and awkward. But you don't realise that until the scene with Darth Vader. And you're like, oh, shit. Yeah. So it could have happened. But yeah, I was not surprised it was Jill. It was the only person.
But you kind of were at the same time, but you kind of...
Yeah! It was kind of a surprise, non-surprise. It was an expected surprise. The signs were all there. You just kind of waited for the penny to drop. Because the only other thing they could have done, like Michelle Mee could have done, was to introduce an absolute whole new character, and that would have been too much.
Right. It wouldn't have been so impactful if it was just, oh, hey, here's this random guy.
Yeah. It was just
I think,
which person fits the bill out of the cast of characters.
I think, though, if you weren't going through chapter by chapter so in depth with discussions like we do on our podcast, it probably would have been more shocking.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the whole thing when we talk about these and have these discussions. We are very intently listening to them, especially when we write the summaries. You know, remember so much. We barely scratch the surface when it comes to these discussions, realistically.
Yeah.
Which is thankfully we do have book club the last Monday of every month to talk about Vampire Academy at the moment. So that's good. We can get it out there as well and have the discussions about things we don't talk about on the podcast.
Right. Yes. You know, there was something else that I was surprised about.
Yes.
I completely forgot that Rose violently killed Victor.
I
completely forgot about it.
What the hell, Rose?
Yeah, it was yikes. It was yikes. And that she just kept beating his corpse. And then Sonya's like, hey, Rose, hey, can you stop doing that now?
Yeah, that was brutal.
Forgot all about it. Yeah.
Absolutely brutal. And something had to happen with Victor. Something had to. But I didn't expect that.
But terrible. Are there any other things that you're surprised about, or can we go on?
No, I think we could. I think we've covered the three. Surprise, not surprise. Jill, Tasha. What the fuck, man? Rose killing Victor. What? Holy mother of goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, that was yikes. That was for sure 100% yikes.
Yeah. All the yikes. I feel sorry for Robert because as much as Victor is a dick, he needs his brother. He needs that support mechanism.
Yep. Okay, so is it time?
It's time.
It's time
for drama. So, we asked the ultimate question of questions. Dimitri or Adrian?
Dimitri or Adrian? Oh.
I said this in a comment on the post. This is more contentious than Edward or Jacob.
Yep.
Because that's a no-brainer, it's Edward.
Right. If you don't choose Edward, you're wrong, so...
Exactly. So, on Facebook, 60% for Dimitri, 40% for Adrian. On Instagram, 54% for Dimitri, 46% for Adrian. On Twitter, 60% Dimitri, 40% Adrian. And on TikTok, 33% Dimitri, 67% Adrian.
Thanks for having me back, TikTok.
Dimitri. Team Dimitri.
Team Adrian forever.
Team Dimitri forever.
I feel like everyone knows that already, so like it's not a surprise. It's not even like information for us to share that because everyone knows it.
Yeah, the end. Let's look at the comments though.
We did have some good comments. I was very pleased with them.
Comments, yes. Our listeners are excellent when it comes to comments.
Yeah.
So Dakota on Facebook said, in Vampire Academy, love Dimitri. Can't wait till we read Bloodlines. Then I'm Team Adrian all the way. Dimitri is right for Rose. Rose has done so much to save Dimitri and she deserves her happy ending with him. They understand each other more than Rose and Adrian could. With a little amendy caveat, ***, And if you have read the next series, you will see that Adrian is bound for greatness. I have not read it, Dakota, on Facebook, but I am going to. Bye.
You know, I gotta say something like special to Dakota here, because Dakota, I love you. And I just want you to know that I appreciate how much you love Adrian and how excited you are that we're going to be reading Bloodlines. And I love that you're reading along with us, because I need someone else to love Adrian as much as I do. So thanks. Also, you know someone else who loves Adrian as much as Dakota and I love Adrian? Constance. Constance's comment this time was just Adrian 1,000 times in all capital letters.
You see, she's let the team down though, because I don't know those song lyrics. And she said she was going to do just song lyrics.
She had to break away this time because of how important Adrian is. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay with that. She'll come back. Don't worry. Mm-hmm. Don't worry.
Can I point out though, having not yet read Bloodlines, I do not own the books yet. They're still on my wish list on Audible. I may change my tune, but Vampire Academy series, it's Dimitri. And it may be Bloodline series, yes, I love Adrian in that series.
But you can see how great Adrian became.
I can see his potential, yes.
Don't give me that fucking potential bullshit like Rose did.
Rose stifled him. She didn't support him, she stifled him. Rose has a lot to answer for. Adrian is a nice guy. He's a genuinely nice guy, and he wants to help, and he wants to do the right thing. But you don't need that dragging him down.
No. I'm just glad that you finally understand how great Adrian is. That's all I gotta say. Because at the beginning you were like, ugh, fucking Adrian, ugh. But now you can see.
He was a complete creep in Frostbite. Complete creep. Next comment.
Joy Houseworth on Instagram said, Dimitri, love him. I love his family. I'm a sucker for a man who reads. Can't stand Adrian. Joy.
Thank you, Joy. That was a wonderful comment. I agree. Thank you.
Joy,
I mean, I can't stand Adrian. I mean, I do like Adrian. I do genuinely like Adrian. But yeah, I like the comment.
If only Joy was a member of our Patreon bonus tier and she could see me staring into her soul right now.
And I'm giving her the thumbs up. Gwendolyn Lefroy on Instagram. I haven't read book 6 yet. It's up next. Right now, I'm leaning towards Adrian. Weepy Dimitri in book 5 kind of ruined that ship. But I may change my mind. Hashtag vote early, vote often.
I can't wait to see what she has to say in book club.
Yes, I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Wait. But I love that she also hated Weepy Dimitri in book 5.
Yes. It was... Thank goodness. See, this is it. You can be Team Dimitri, but you can appreciate the fact that book 5 Dimitri ain't a good Dimitri.
No, he's not good at all. No. Finally, Breetart on Instagram said, oh no, this is one of the hardest would you rathers yet.
We've given them some stinkers. I love the fact that this is the hard one.
Me too. But she has to go with Dimitri, though. She's a sucker for broody men in long coats with soft insides.
Oh, it's perfect. Oh, Breetart, that was an amazing comment. Yes. Thank you.
Breetart, please tell us how you felt when Dimitri was sad about losing his coat.
Yes.
We need to know. We do. Oh. Goodness. feel like I need to make Team Adrian and Team Dimitri shirts for the shop.
I think you do as well.
And then we'll be the only ones who buy them.
I don't know. I know somebody else who'll buy a Team Adrian one. It's fine.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Would you rather break out of court or break in to court?
Oh, do you know what is intrinsic in both of these?
What?
Abe.
Yes.
Abe either sources the explosives or does the huge scene for you to get there.
Yeah.
I'm going to say break into court. Not because I don't want the explosives. No, I'm all over that.
Yeah.
But I like the whole dramatic drama queen Abe getting everybody's attention and then you striding into court and standing there next to him and everybody's like, who the hell is this? And then it's like, it's me, Rose Hathaway!
Yes.
For killing the queen. However, I accuse you, Tasha!
Yes.
So
That
I'm gonna
was such
break
a
into
huge
court.
scene.
Exactly, for the whole drama queen-ness of it.
Yeah.
Break into court. What about you?
I mean, despite the fact that there was the going downstairs quote trailer that we got to witness that took place during the breakout of court scene.
It's inspirational.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really great. It, you know, I was going to say despite that, well, no, I can still say despite that. Despite that, I like the breakout scene better. Despite it, because it was terrible. I like the breakout. I like the explosions. I like that Abe, of course, had C4.
He probably had it in his room. He didn't even need to make a special phone call for it. It's like,
No,
oh, you need some.
he just had it.
How many bricks do you need?
Yeah, he just had it. He was already ready. And, you know, he was there with the car. And then you kind of think back to Midnight Sun when there's the car scene, and then you think, is someone gonna throw this car across the interstate?
Somebody
But then
better
no.
not throw the car across the interstate. We'll have to have words. Rage words, the likes of which Rose will not have heard from Adrian on the breakup scene.
Yeah. No, but I liked the breaking out of court. I liked the explosions. I like that there was the whole setup with Adrian being too drunk to show up at the funeral, and that's not really what was going on, and he wasn't with all them bitches. He was, like, actually, you know, actively planning an escape. So, I thought that was good. That was a good
Because
scene.
you were in prison!
In prison! Yes. Yes.
Excellent, excellent. Next question. Which Queen trial would you rather participate in? So we've got the
Am
Lost
I
in the
me?
Forest.
Am I me or am I Alyssa?
Either. Remember, master of your own destiny. So
Right.
the trials we have are the riddle, Lost in the Forest, and the fear test.
Well, I mean, I don't want to pee my pants, so I'm gonna knock off the fear test. Also, that was just terrible. Everything that she experienced was awful, and there were a lot of other people that didn't make it through that test, which leads me to believe that it could be more awful than it was for Alyssa, which it was still pretty terrible for Alyssa.
Yeah.
I think I want to go with the first one, following the map and figuring out clues. I like that. That seems more fun than trying to solve a riddle, because what if you don't answer the riddle correctly? You're out. You're done.
Yeah. The riddle she's given is really kind of woolly as well. Like, it could be one of several things, and all of them are selfless. Like, nothing.
Yeah.
But there's other things I feel like could just be equally as important, but as equally as selfless, just worded differently or in a
Yeah,
way.
it's kind of ambiguous.
Yeah. So I'm with you. I think the finding the clues, because I don't know about you, but as I was listening to it and they were saying what the clues were, I was like, it's this. Look for this. And so it felt like you could join in a little bit in a sort of way. So yeah. I'm there. It's like, use the top. Keep yourself dry.
Yeah.
She's already thought of that. She's not doing that.
Yeah. Okay. Next question.
Go for it.
And it's terrible. Would you rather hang out with the keepers or with the alchemists? Which terrible religious cult are you gonna join?
I'm going to join the cult of the alchemists for several reasons.
Why?
Coffee.
Because you want a face
electricity.
tattoo. Face tattoos.
Ice cream.
Face tattoos. I'm just gonna
secrets and knowledge. Ooh, a jar of that stuff that can make the Strigoi bodies die. I would have fun with that.
Yeah.
Bit stricter, yeah, but I like my modern conveniences as well. A cave is not an attractive marriage prospect for me.
No.
And I suspect there's a little bit of inbreeding. There's a lot of inbreeding.
Yeah, there probably is. But also maybe not, because you can intermingle with the other races, which is frowned upon elsewhere. Like, I like that about the keepers, that they're like, oh yeah, if you're a Moroi, you can marry that human, it's cool, it's fine, don't worry about it. Or, you know, it's okay for our Jampiers to be with each other and not always guarding us. It's fine. So I
we all know how to fight.
Yes. And that's the next thing I was
in
going to say.
Woods,
they all
living in a cave.
Right.
Without coffee.
Right. I don't care necessarily about the coffee, but there are things that I like about the keepers. I'm also cool with, you know, growing a garden and living off the land and all of those things. But like the no electricity, that's really like the breaking point.
Showers.
Yeah.
Indoor plumbing.
Yeah. That's I can't get with that.
No.
So I guess I'm going to be an alchemist.
Cool.
Even though I do appreciate a lot of the things that the keepers believe in.
The open-mindedness between, you know, the mingling between the Moroi, the humans, and the Dampiers, brilliant, perfect. You know, they've got a lot of liberal thoughts. But do they have to live in the woods?
Yes. Or in a cave.
Or in a cave.
Only the important ones get to live in a house.
Yes. With an attic!
Yay! I'm so happy. Hey, now I'm excited about having a loft in my future house. So I can get it. I understand.
It's a different kind. Yeah, but you're not going to have 4 people living in the attic, are you? Are you?
No,
if you have people living in the attic because they're being kidnapped, you have to tell me.
I will tell you if that comes to pass.
Your attic's going to be haunted by Garfield doll anyway, so it's fine.
It is. It's true, it is. It's fine.
Last question.
This question is so important.
It really is. I'm kind of revisited again. Which spirit ability would you rather have? Healing, auras, dream walk, compulsion, charming objects, or concealment?
And I can't just be Sonia and have them all, can I? I have to pick one.
No. All the rest, pants at. Pants. No, you have one. All the others, you're like Dimitri in book 5. Limp. The one.
You know what? Can I just say something real quick? He was not limp in this one.
Oh no.
Teasing the penis abilities in this one he was.
He was made of girders in this one.
I think I broke just a little bit just then.
Yes.
I think for me it's going to be either down to compulsion or charming objects. Because you could use those charmed objects for a lot of things.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with the charming objects because if you choose that one, you can also do some concealment. You can also do some healing. So I'm going to go with charmed objects. That's what I'm going to do. That's my spirit ability. Charming objects.
Good answer. Very good answer. I'm going to fulfill my Sith Lord dreams and go for compulsion.
Yeah. Okay. You can also compel a little bit with the charmed objects.
But not as much as I'm going to be compelling people.
Fine. These are not the Dampiers you're looking for.
And instead of having robes, I'll just have a duster instead. That's the uniform.
Fine.
Perfect.
Yes. Good answer.
Oh.
All right. Favorite final thought quote?
I've got 6.
Get ready to make a video.
Oh my gosh.
Terrible video, please, to accompany all of these favorite
Just
final
imagine
quotes.
going down the stairs or running through the woods or jumping out of a window, but you don't see anybody. You just see the action. That's it.
Yes. Yep. All right.
Most of them are for fun, but there's probably one that's a bit more serious, actually.
Okay.
I'm just going to go for him.
Sure.
I suppose if you're going to make a career of breaking laws, you might as well know them. Yes, Abe. Yes, you should know them. Maybe he was part of a pseudo-Amish cult, but that didn't change the fact that he was still good looking.
No, Joshua.
Joshua in your cave. My life didn't need to be on the line to enjoy dessert. Truth. Actual fact. And then Dimitri came back. The quote is actually, "Things are always hot with him around." Oh yes. Yes, they are. And my last two are probably the more serious ones.
Okay.
Anger based on calculated reason is more dangerous than anger based on blind hate. Which, when you hear it and you know that's Tasha who said that originally to Christian, you kind of go, oh. And my last one is, in real life, people formed bonds of another nature. Bonds of love and loyalty.
I'm really surprised. There's one quote that I purposefully didn't include in my collection because I thought you were going to choose it. And I just actually looked it up because I didn't include it. I didn't include it at all because I knew you were going to do it and you didn't.
There were others, but I didn't. I stuck with 6. What was it?
I always love seeing what worries you. Strigoi? No. Questionable food? Yes. So thought you were going to pick that one. It was... You did choose other things about food. Desserts, sure. But I knew you were going to choose that one, but you didn't.
It wasn't on my bookmarks.
So
as I was
shocked.
listening to it, I did bookmark. It may not have been in one of them.
I'm so shocked.
Sorry?
It's okay. So now I have 4 others.
Okay.
Books are a journey of the imagination.
Oh, Dimitri with his books in the library.
That would be a good one that doesn't have anything to do with what's going on in the story to make a video of.
You
Anyway.
can't do it anywhere near a library. You've got to find the library and then go 10 miles in the opposite direction.
Yep. And can't have any books in the video either.
No, I'm thinking like rocks next to a river, and you just see the running river next to it.
Sure. Yeah. Yep. Sure. I can do that. Don't focus on where you're not. I like that one too. Quite a bit.
I like that one. But unfortunately I can see the trailer and it's just panning and all you can see is the distance.
Yep. Fighting is easy. It's why we fight that matters.
Nice.
And finally, we hold onto our pasts and embrace our present. We take the best of it all and grow stronger.
Ooh. Yeah. Good quotes this week.
Yeah.
It's a very quotable book. There was lots in there. There was a lot more.
Yeah. There was one more, and I can't remember literally anything about it, but after the fact, finishing reading that chapter, and I moved on to the next one, and I thought, I need to go back and remember to write that quote down, and then I didn't do it, and now I don't remember what it was, but it was really, really good.
Oh, happens to me all the time.
Hate it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, anyway. I can't believe we're finished. With Vampire Academy.
I'm a little sad, actually. I'm excited to have read them, to finally read them. I'm so happy to have finally read them. Yes! At last I have read the Vampire Academy books. I'm so relieved. I'm so happy. I'm so sad that I've read the Vampire Academy books because now I've done it.
Yeah.
But I can go back and read them, so that's fine.
Yeah.
And
we haven't left
to look
them.
Forward to.
Yeah, we haven't left them behind completely.
No.
We're moving on to Bloodlines.
Yes.
Anyway, if you liked this, try this. What do you have to suggest?
Do you know what? I'm struggling with this because I'm trying to at least offer vampire ones. And we're 6 months in, and we've got another 6 months.
Yep.
It's getting hard. And actually, this is what I was originally going to suggest was a TV series called Vampire High. And it was back from the early noughties. And I don't know if you've seen it. I suspect you have. It was a Canadian TV series. It was 2 seasons long. And it was rubbish. And I adore it. It's terrible. Vampire High. It's on one of the streaming services, I'm sure. And I was going to recommend that. But I thought I also need to do a book.
Probably you should do a book. It would make more sense.
It would make sense, but yeah, go check out Vampire High because it's terrible. It's wonderful.
I'm checking right now to see if I can watch it.
Fabulous. So, I'm going to recommend Vampire the Masquerade Volume 1 comic books. Now, I used to play Vampire the Masquerade RPG, and it holds a very special place in my heart. I adored it. It was every Saturday night me and my friends got together, we used to play Vampire the Masquerade. There is also a Vampire the Masquerade TV series, which is terrible as well, and it's adorable. I love it. So go and check that out too. But this is the comic series, it's a collected edition, and it's not yet released as a collected volume. It's due soon. And there are various authors to it, but it's published by Vault Comics. This summary is from ForbiddenPlanet.com. When Cecily Bain, an enforcer for the Twin Cities vampiric elite, takes a mysterious new vampire under her wing, she's dragged into an insidious conspiracy. Meanwhile, on the outskirts of the cities, a rebellious found family of vampire castouts investigate a vicious killing. As the unlives of the kindred twine together and betrayals are unearthed, will Cecily be able to escape and save what's left of her family, or will she be yet another pawn sacrificed to maintain the age-old secret that vampires exist among the living? Born from the world of the internationally best-selling role-playing game Vampire the Masquerade's critically acclaimed comic debuts, spins a gripping and tragic tale about the beast within us all. It's a graphic novel. It is an adult graphic novel. but they're very good. You're very, very good, and I adore the Vampire Masquerade universe. So,
Excellent.
What have you got?
I went with the Morganville Vampires.
Yes, I love the Morganville Vampires.
I'm really surprised that we haven't mentioned the Morganville Vampires books yet.
I suspect we'll be covering the Morganville Vampires.
I know, I kind of thought about it but then I realized there's like 15 of them or something, maybe more, which might be too much.
We'll work something out.
We'll just cover them for the rest of the life of the podcast.
Forever.
Yeah. So, anyway. This book series is by Rachel Kane, and the first one is called Glass Houses. And the summary is from Goodreads. College freshman Claire Danvers has had enough of her nightmarish dorm situation. When Claire heads off campus, the imposing old house where she finds a room may not be much better. Her new roommates don't show many signs of life, but they'll have Claire's back when the town's deepest, darkest secrets come crawling out. Hungry for fresh blood. Will she be able to face the town's terror, or will she drown like everyone else?
So good. It has a TV series as well.
So good. But we love terrible vampire things, so.
We adore terrible vampire things.
Yes, we do.
It helps fill the gap until the Vampire Academy TV series can fill our souls.
Yes. Or the House of Night vampire series can become a thing.
Yes.
Still holding out hope for that one. Love it. All right. That's it. Aww. That's it for this episode of Fictional Hangover in the Vampire Academy series.
Oh, really sad.
Oh, but it's okay because Bloodlines. Don't worry. Just keep that in mind. Yeah. Bloodlines is coming. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Claire.
Join us next time. Oh, hey, guess what? More vampires.
Yay!
Join us next time as we discuss Bloodlust and Bonnets by Emily McGovern. This is our first graphic novel. Do you realize?
Yeah, I'm excited.
It's so exciting and it's adorable. And I love it. And you might recognize Emily McGovern's style from My Life as a Background Slytherin, which is also wonderful.
Yes.
Look out for our Would You Rather polls on social media. Don't forget about our book club and monthly challenges on Facebook. Be sure to visit our shop on Redbubble at fictionalhangover.redbubble.com for all your favorite fictional hangover-themed merchandise. And become a patron of ours on Patreon at patreon.com/fictionalhangover. Until next time, remember, the only cure for a fictional hangover is another vampire book. Yay! Conveniently enough, you can buy that t-shirt.
Cheap plug, love it. You can find us at fictionalhangover.com, follow us on Instagram at fictionalhangover, find us on Facebook at facebook.com/fictionalhangover, and on Twitter at fictionalhangover, no ER. If you like this episode, check out our others and rate, review and subscribe so you don't miss out. And finally, special thanks to Liz Emerson for our music. You can find her on Facebook and Patreon. Thanks for listening.